is the Border Patrol agent in Vermont. I'm going to be a DJ and have one ear off and one ear on so I can hear through the microphone. Zach Apotheker. Hey, Zach, are you there?
Jimmy, of course I am. Always here for you, brother.
You have the thickest Boston accent ever. You
want to put the microphone right up top?
I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
I can't change now.
You're live. You're live on the air. Is this right?
Yeah.
It's okay. You're live with Tim, and we showed the clip of you in the patrol car, and we're talking about courage, and we're talking about people blowing the whistle. And Tim Poole made a point that, people are afraid of losing their jobs, afraid of retaliation. You're not. So you're the guy doing the thing. Can you just talk about why that is and people following your lead?
Well, I don't think I'm a courageous guy. I think, I grew up in a country that I grew up playing wiffle ball with my brothers in the backyard, running around my neighborhood. I grew up right outside Boston. I had a glorious upbringing, 4th of July barbecues, so forth and so on. Both my brothers got into drugs. We lost like a generation full of good men that started on maybe pills and then moved over to heroin. And I lost both my brothers. And when that happened, I felt a calling and a purpose. So I signed up for the Border Patrol. I don't want to make it seem like I was some grandiose Border Patrol agent. I was just a guy that wanted to go down to Arizona, stop people from coming to my country. And about 3.5 years ago, a little under 4 years, we started taking people, bringing them into the country, and giving them everything that would ever far exceed what you could ever imagine that American citizen would get. So I saw you running around doing your thing, and I reached out to you, and I said, listen, I'm never going to get my brothers back. I can lose my job, but what I'm not going to stand for is let my country go by the wayside without speaking out and saying something.
And they retaliated against you, Zach. What did they do to you? Because I know they took your gun away.
They're trying to destroy me. They're throwing me
right
in the
now.
corner.
They're trying to destroy him.
Yes.
And they took your gun away. Just really quick, like what did they do?
Through the station, took my gun away, took me off nights, took me off weekends. They said it wasn't disciplinary. They brought in criminal investigators to investigate me as if I did something criminal. All I said was, there's over 300,000 kids missing. Lincoln Riley's now deceased by somebody that the Border Patrol encountered, and I'm the bad guy. And they're trying to get me on a technicality. So luckily I have you. You have the big outreach. You're on Timmy Poole. I'm just here to say, when are we going to stand up and actually speak out for your country? I'm not saying you're going to be me.
But how do we, I don't know if Tim has a question, but we're trying to get other people to follow your lead, and they're trying to make an example out of you, and that's the concern.
Well, what was the moment when you were like, the straw has broken the camel's back, I have to speak?
There really wasn't one moment. James can attest to this. We were going back and forth. I called him crying. I'm not that courageous of a guy. And we hung up the phone, and the moment we hung up, Trump got shot in the air.
That was it. That was the Trump getting shot was the moment.
Wow.
No, Zach, that was the day Trump got shot in the ear, and then you're like, okay. You're like,
I don't know if we're going to even have a country if that bullet goes
was
through
Trump
his head.
getting shot.
What? Yeah.
That was the line in your sand, right?
I was like, buddy, there might not be tomorrow. And I didn't know if I'd be successful. I didn't know if the movie, I didn't know nothing. I'm not a political guy. I'm not in the entertainment industry. I said, I want to go on record and say what's going on.
For those of you listening, you're listening to the Border Patrol agent in the film Line in the Sand who blew the whistle on the Border Patrol in his patrol vehicle, and now they're taking away his gun. They've reduced your salary, right? They're trying to Tim, they're trying to keep him employed but make his life a living hell so he quits.
Yep.
And my advice is to not quit. Don't quit. Right?
We're standing here on principle. You're going to take me alive. You're going to take me as
I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Zach, what should other Border Patrol officers do to follow your lead?
I mean, everybody knows what to do and what they should do. And a lot of times I get ad hominem attacked, like I wasn't that good of an agent, I wasn't this, listen, I'm not here to tell the next man what to do. But if you sit down with any Border Patrol agent and say, what have you seen over the last 4 years? They're going to say the same thing as me. And they're scared. They don't want to get treated like this. So maybe I can prove to them that, listen, it's not that bad. Whatever they do, at least the American people are going to appreciate it.
I can tell you that I have a lot of these Border Patrol agents that are talking to me on deep background, and they're fence sitters. They're like, let me see what happens to Zach. That's what they're all saying. They're literally watching this guy because they all like hate what they're doing, and it's blood money.
There
right?
was in your film, one of the border patrol agents looks at you and says, "Hey, I'm a big fan," and shakes your hand.
It's weird. There's like little girls. You got to watch this movie. There's little girls, and they're being picked up and trafficked, and they're just like, hate my life, hate my job, hate what I'm doing, but I need the money. And then I'm like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, hey, I'm a big fan. It was just like the most absurd. I mean, it may have been the most absurd moment in the movie. It's like lost in all of this is any semblance of right and wrong. So all these guys, Zach doesn't know this because he's not on all the calls, but all these guys, actually Zach knows some of the guys, are waiting to see what happens to Zach. So it's almost like Zach needs to survive and thrive, and then they'll follow him.
Listen, I'll go back to Boston, go be a carpenter. But what I'm not going to do is hand little girls off into the hands of the cartel because I'm getting paid $120,000, $130,000 a year. My mother always said to me, Zach, I don't care if you bag groceries. It's what's in your heart. I get choked up talking about it. I get emotional. But she said to me, she says, I don't care if you go bag groceries. It's what's in your heart that counts, and a man's character. It's not his job. So that's why I never had an allegiance or a loyalty to the brand of the Border Patrol to have a gun on my head. I signed up because both my brothers died. I'm never going to get them back. I signed up so drugs wouldn't come into this country. And next thing you know, all our resources are tied up in having people come in. And next thing you know, you're looking to your left and right, the desert's wide open. And what's really going on? And like you had Chad Wolf on your documentary. What did he say about the drugs that were coming to the fence? I mean, you saw drugs in your movie.
Chad Wolf said that drugs only come. They were saying that drugs only come in through port of entries. They come in everywhere. Zach, we got to go. Tim, any last comments? Or questions?
Just I really do appreciate your bravery, your honesty, and I wish more guys were like you.
Thank you, Zach.
If you guys don't mind, all I ask is I don't ask for a whole lot. I'm not trying to get nothing out of this. Just that the American people can keep an eye on my story. I don't care what happens to me. I just want everyone to be able to see it. And I know, James, you're going to push it. If they destroy me, at least let it be known.
They're not going to destroy you because they're going to have to go through me to get to you. And we're going to pay your legal bills. I'm paying his legal bills. We're going to pay all the whistleblowers' legal bills. Thank you, Zach.
Godspeed, Jimmy. See you later, Tim.
Have a good one, man.
So did you notice how
wow.
This guy is the thickest Boston accent I've ever heard. I love his accent. I'm an accent person. I go undercover for a living, so I study this stuff. I think that you made a point. You said people are afraid of losing their jobs, afraid of this and all. It's almost like, what if the premise was, to hell with that? Okay, I'll lose my job. That's what he's about. He doesn't care.
But it's the equation of when people fear what happens to their country more than they fear reprisal, you get whistleblowers.
And I don't think that's happened until recently, right? I don't think that's been a thing.
I think for some people, they'll stand up and do the right thing no matter what.
The Vietnam War spawned a generation of people willing to do it, but it's since then, this is it. This is the beginning.
Yeah, I think so. I
think for a lot of people, we're going to start seeing this more and more. I think there's two kinds of whistleblowers. Guy gets a job because he's like, hey, I want to work security nights. He sees somebody doing something wrong and he goes, that's wrong and I won't stand for it. He's going to take personal risk, but it's the right thing to do. There's another kind of whistleblower where they're actually looking at a scale and they're like, if I say nothing, my life will be destroyed. I'm going to blow the whistle, right? So some of these whistleblowers who are going to come out, it's not because it's the right thing to do. It's because the alternative is worse.
That's very well put.
That's how bad it's getting.
They're having a crisis of conscience. Right, and it's very, whistleblowing is extra legal. It's impossible to do it in a way where you're not breaking a few eggs. But that's a very astute way of putting it. There's a scale, and at some point you can't live with yourself. Most of these Border Patrol agents are miserable. And if you're watching Zach in the film, I can't even do what he does. So powerful. But if you're watching this, I will pay your legal bills. I have a foundation.
But let me clarify. I'm speaking economically. There is somebody who's going to be working a job, and they're going to say, if I don't call out the people who are stealing from this company's going to go out of business. I'm going to lose my job.
Right.
And so there's a lot of, I think we're starting seeing more whistleblowers that are looking at it more like, this country is about to collapse economically. If I don't do something now and speak out, it'll be worse than saying nothing.
It's almost like that Braveheart speech from Mel Gibson where he says, yes, you might keep your job, but for a while. And many years from now, when you're lying in your bed and you're sitting there, what would you give if you had one chance to go back to 2024 on the eve of the presidential election and blow the whistle on FEMA? And
Or it's a vote. Go vote.
or
Go
to
vote.
vote. I mean, I think that most of the whistleblowers I talk to don't care if they lose their job.
Yeah.
They just don't care. Some things are more important than your job. And frankly, even if 100 people blow the whistle, will change the world. But of course, they're all watching Zach. They're all watching him and waiting to see what happens to him, seeing how he does. So what these people have to do is they have to make his life a living. They have to try to make his life a living hell. They have to try to hurt him. And my advice is don't quit. Don't quit.
Oh, man, it's so demonic.
You know, it's spiritual, Tim.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a spiritual war. I don't know if you know that, but it is.
Not only in the support
good and
of
evil.
people coming out, that's obviously what you do and a lot of what your company does, which is extra spectacular. Is the releasing the knowledge of what's happening in society, because Tim, like you were saying, people will blow the whistle when the opportunity cost of not blowing the whistle outpaces, like, it's going to be worse if I don't throw my job away. It's going to get so, but if they don't know how bad it might get, so that's our job as educators, and a lot of what we do here and shows like this, and people that are willing to ring the bell and show you, like, hey, the U.S. national debt is $36 trillion. And it's going up by $1 trillion a year, whatever. They show you the pain, they show you the problem, and they do it in a way that you don't look away. Then when you know the problem, it's easier to make the calculation of, should I speak out against this?
I sent Tim a DM. There's a little girl in the desert walking all alone in the desert in the film. It's not an actress. It's a real girl. And people were emotional. I didn't think it was that. I mean, I could have shown a lot worse. And there's this trailer. Just play the first few seconds of this trailer because this is a scene from the film. Boom.
We got an unaccompanied minor right here, guys. This is
Pause.
heartbreaking right here.
Pause. Go back to that.
Guys.
This is just there's more in the movie, but this girl's all alone. Her clothes are tattered. She's drugged. And she says, and this is in the film, she says, "My father's in heaven." Now she's speaking in Spanish. Translated it. I mean, people were crying. I don't think Americans are ready to see this. I don't think they understand this is a humanitarian crisis. So Border Patrol agents see this every day. Zach sees this, and he says, "To hell with my job. I can't live with myself." I mean, this is real. This is not, I mean, Sound of Freedom, great movie. I love Sound of Freedom. This is not an actress. This is a real little girl walking all alone.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.